God bless. Bendiciones. Welcome to Jesus Talk Podcast. I have a really exciting message to share with you. But first, I'm going to present myself. My name is Gracia, or you can call me Grace. I just have a message I want to share with you that's, I think, a little bit confronting. But I think it's necessary for us to understand a lot of things. The importance to allow others to grow. The importance to allow ourselves to grow. But in our own way of shining and being who God has called us to be. I shared a topic a while back with y'all about identity in Christ. I shared a little bit of my testimony of things that I've lived, things that I've gone through. When I left the church I was at before and I came to this church, I remember thinking to myself, why did this happen to me? This is so unfair and I can't believe this. And I didn't know what to do. But the Lord spoke to my heart and he made me realize and make me see the state of my heart, of who I was and why did I serve, why did I go to church. One of the many reasons that I went to church is because it's all I knew. It's where I grew up in church. I felt that it was necessary for me to go to church. I felt that I needed to go to church because that's what I was taught to do. And so, yes, I grew up in church and I grew up to an older adult. Not an older adult, but like in my late 20s. And I became a person that was very prideful. I'm not saying that I am free of pride and I am so humble. No, because that's the worst thing anybody could say. But I was a person that was not the best in regards to humility. I remember thinking to myself, I know they're going to put me to minister. I am going to say I am a great singer, but that's not a reason to think of myself that highly. And a lot of the times, maybe rude to people and not the best character that you would need as a worship leader or someone that worships God, a Christ follower. And so that's the topic I want to share with you, is humility. It's important for us to learn to be humble. It's important that we learn to let others grow. And I shared that in the beginning because sometimes God will tell you, I need you to do this, and because I want to let others grow. And that's a way of us stepping down and saying, okay, Lord, I'm going to listen to your calling and I'm going to humble myself in trusting that your plan is better than my own. Letting others have a turn. Maybe you have the choice of putting someone in a certain privilege, but you put yourself in the best. And when they're special guests, when they have someone that is coming and you want them to see you, but maybe not take it that way. Maybe the best thing is for you to let others be seen and not let your light be the only one shining. We all have a special gift and a special talent. We all have something beautiful that the Lord has put in us. If it's in the worship team, if it's in the children's ministry, if it's in the media team, if it's in whatever area you serve in, we all have a certain gift that makes us shine. Now, just imagine this table. There's one light here, right? There's one light only. But imagine this table full of lights, but only one is shining and only one is on. Also, we have these amazing lights. So imagine if these lights weren't on and only this one was on. What we see is maybe just a plain wall in the background, and we only see this one shining on the microphone. But with all of these other lights, and I actually have two other lights here that are reflecting on me, make everything look much nicer. The same thing I tell musicians. If you have a harmony, which is a melody that is going along with your melody, the main melody, but it's different notes, but they coincide with each other. They give each other something to make it sound better. It's like a chord. A chord has 3 different notes, 4, 5, 6. One note alone sounds nice, but when you play multiple notes at once, they sound better. If you have a group of singers and there's only one main melody, and you don't have other additional harmonies or what I would call decorations, different background vocals, different arrangements, and it's not going to sound as great as if you would hear an orchestra playing. You hear a violin playing by itself and you say, wow, that sounds so great. But then when you have a full orchestra and everyone does their own part, it sounds amazing. Just as well as if of the body of Christ, one person is the only one doing their function and everyone else isn't, the church isn't able to move on and grow as a church. They're stuck because not everyone is doing their function. And so I say those different examples because a lot of times our attitudes, the way that we serve in church, prevents others from growing in their light and in their service to Christ. And in some sort of way, we are now allowing them to grow and we're exalting ourselves and we're not letting others grow. We have to learn to sometimes stay quiet when it's, even if we think we have the right answer, but it allows the other person to grow and give their opinion of whatever topic we're talking about. So I'm going to share a couple key verses, and I love to share examples because it helps understand a little bit more of what we're talking about. Proverbs 15:3 says, "The fear of the Lord is instruction in wisdom, and humility comes before honor." And I love this specific version because the passage that a lot of people always use is if you let God exalt you. You humble yourself and God will exalt you. Yes, that is awesome. And this verse says humility comes before honor. And then, so the verse that I was just sharing right now is another key verse. I like to point these out as key verses because it allows us to understand a different point of view and saying, if I humble myself, then God will honor me by exalting me. It says in James 4:10, it says, "Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and He will lift you up." That's the passage I was just sharing. But I like this version. It's a little bit more modern and for understanding a little bit better because we have to humble ourselves before the Lord, and He will lift us up. He will give us the privilege of being exalted or being used by Him. A lot of us, and I include myself, we want to serve, we want God to use us, we want God to glorify His name through our lives, and we want others to see that God is working in us. That's awesome. God is working in all of us. But it's important for us to understand that being humble and having a humble heart is really what God is seeing. He doesn't want us to serve Him because we want others to see us. He doesn't want us to make others feel bad so that we can be better or that we can seem to look better. He wants us to seek Him first, and then He will honor us by lifting us up later. Philippians 2:3 says, "Do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but in humility count others more important than yourselves." I think that passage speaks for itself. That, as I was mentioning, allowing others to grow so that we are not lifting ourselves up, but others are being also lifted up, and and part of that is encouraging one another, seeing how we can help one another. If you're a great musician, if you're great at some kind of talent, some gift that God has given you, share it with others, so that others can also be benefited, and not only benefit, but they can be blessed through what God has given you. One of the things that humbles us and allows us to grow, but allows others to grow, is that specifically seeing how I can help this other person. Of course, it is knowing how to do it, how to ask, asking the Lord so that He can show us how to do it. Because a lot of times we want to help. I want to help in everything. And then you're like scrambling and trying to do everything at once. Finding a way to establish yourself in your structure, schedule, seeing where your talents fit in church, where you can help in church, and also allowing others to learn from you, but you also learn from them. One of the things that teachers will tell you is that they learn from teaching. And so the same thing I share with you is, if you have a talent, you have something that you can give to others, share that. Show what you can help in your church. Speak to your pastors. Speak to the leaders in the whatever ministry that you're serving in, and say, how can I help? What is the best thing that I can do so that I can give of what God has given to me? Micah 6:8 says, He has told you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you but do justice, and to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. Look at this amazing thing. It tells us to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly. I love that justice is one of the words on there, because the word of God in Matthew 6:33 says, seeks first His kingdom, His justice, and everything else will be added on. And as we were talking about kindness, in Philippians, we're talking about not to do anything from selfishness or conceit, but in humility count others more important than yourself. That is an act of kindness. And to walk humbly, which is what our topic is, about humility. And Proverbs 22:4 says, the reward for humility and fear of the Lord is riches and honor and life. These passages speak so much to our lives. And one of the books which I want to key point is Proverbs. The book of Proverbs is a great book to read, a great starter if you're wanting to read something a day and you're not used to reading the Bible. You can read it, because it has 31 in the book, so you can read one each day. And they're not all long. So I've done it before. It's a great way to start reading the Bible and receiving that wisdom through the Bible, because Proverbs is a book of wisdom for us. So, and I want to read one more passage for you. It says in Matthew 23:12, it says, whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. And I want to end with that passage, because when I was talking to you all and telling you in the very beginning of this teaching that the Lord has given to me, I shared with you a testimony that I had gone through a process of humility. If I would have realized the state that I was in the beginning, then I would have probably tried to fix it. But I had become such a prideful person that I did not see what was in front of me. I did not see the state of my heart. I did not see how God was seeing me. And it's very important for us to understand and see what God sees in us, to open the veil of us to see what we have inside of us. Because we may think we're like the best. We may think that we are so good at what we do. We're so perfect. We're so great at certain things, or we're such skillful person. We're very agile in something. And you may have so many great abilities. We may have those great abilities of certain things. But God tells us that we have to humble ourselves before Him, and He will exalt us. Some key points that I want to share with you of why it is important to be humble. It attracts God's favor. And these are just a few things that I noted here on my notes from the passages that we just read. It is essential for wisdom. it allows God to exalt us. It leads to more peaceful life because we allow God to work in us and we humble ourselves. So then we're not carrying all the weight. We're saying, okay, God, you got this. I'll let you do you and I'm going to do me. I'm going to do what you told me to do and then you're going to do the rest. That allows us to have a more peaceful life. And it enables a right relationship with God and others. If you feel that you are having the best service for the Lord and you feel that you have others seeing you a certain way and not in a way that people want to approach you, maybe people are scared to approach you, or maybe people see you like they don't want to reach out to you. Maybe it's a time to check your heart, to check how your status of your heart is and the state of your heart, to know and to see, is it that I am being humble? Is it that I am trying to exalt myself? What is going on inside of me, in my spirit? What do I see? And ask the Lord to help you to see what he sees so that his name can be glorified through whatever service, whatever thing you do for him. And there's another passage which I did not write on here, but it says, do everything for the Lord. Do everything as for the Lord. So I invite you to serve the Lord with joy, to serve the Lord with happiness, to do what you love for the Lord, but do it with a humble heart. Let us do this, because I speak this teaching to myself. And also as a warning to you. Don't let it come to the point where God says, you didn't humble yourself, so now I'm going to do it for you. And that's what happened to me. And I don't want that to happen to anybody. I want you to be able to be used by the Lord, be the Lord's name be glorified through your calling, through your service, but that also you may learn to always see your heart. Ever since that happened to me, I'm always thinking, how's my heart doing? How's my heart doing? How am I doing? And then on the moments where I see something, I'm like, Lord, help me. Shut this mouth. Because sometimes we say things that aren't the most humbling thing. So I hope this message blesses you and that brings you to a level of more closeness with the Lord, of more in God's presence, and more of a moment where you can see the state of your heart and constantly seek him to be more and more humble, because we all have a little bit of pride. That's no secret. We all have a little bit of pride. It comes with being human. So if you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get rid of this, that's okay. As long as you're seeking God first, you're seeking him every day, and you're telling him how can I get better? Help me, Lord, so I can be more before you. Praying is a very humble thing to do. Praying is telling the Lord, here I am. Do as you may. May your will be done. So I bless you, youth, and all of you that are seeing, the ones that are watching, wherever you are. May the Lord bless you, and we'll see each other next time. God bless.